Hey guys, Eric here. We're taking a look right now at how to create your bill of materials for your selected project. As you can see here, this is the template for your bill of materials that you'll be using. I selected a project already, much as you already have. I chose a smart mailbox, thought it might be a great thing since I'm not great at checking my mail when I'm at home. You can see here it's based on Instructables, which is a great aggregator for technology-based projects. Some of you might be using BlueStamp engineering websites and what have you, but for me, I selected this one off of Instructables, and you can see here in step 1 that there's a great list of all the components that are necessary for me to complete my project. So looking at that first one is a quantity of 1 Raspberry Pi 3 Model B. So sometimes these links are hyperlinked. This link this website does not have any hyperlinks, so we'll have to do the research ourselves. So that Raspberry Pi Model 3, that's going to be my item number 1. When you're looking at that, please do include as much of the information in the bill of materials as you can. So that'll help yourself later when you're writing up your reports, as well as your lead instructor when they're ordering your parts for you. So it's important to include as much information as possible when creating your bill of materials. So again, you can see here, that's my first part that we're going to put in here into the bill of materials. Description is going to be the Raspberry Pi 3 Model B. The model as well as the number are important because there are a lot of different Raspberry Pis out there. Amazon's our vendor. See, it looks pretty similar to the Raspberry Pi in the photograph from the Instructables site, so I think we're on the right track here. Most importantly, look at that cost as well as the URL. If you noticed, I had copied the URL there. And here, we're just going to check to make sure it goes to the appropriate board. And so there you go. You can see it went to the same Raspberry Pi that we needed. So make sure you capture that URL appropriately. It will save time for your lead instructor as well as yourself in case you need to order parts again or something happens that you didn't get the right part. So moving on to number 2, we can see we need a breadboard. So you can see the breadboard there in that lower picture. I found mine on SparkFun. It looks a little bit different, but it will serve the same purpose. So again, that's number 2. Description is going to be that breadboard, vendor SparkFun. I know SparkFun does have part numbers, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that there. That'll be important, especially when we start ordering things, to make sure you get the right parts. So this is also a list for you as well as your lead instructor. Again, that URL and the price point are important for you to get the right parts. So we're going to continue on with part number 3 for our bill of materials. You can see I need a laser emitter for the smart mailbox. I Googled it and found this on Amazon. It's a 5-piece set. Any single piece laser emitter that I needed was either too expensive or too large for the purposes of this project. So we're going to go ahead and go with this setup. It's also good to have that extra material for later additions or modifications to the project later. So it's good to have. Again, Amazon doesn't really have that part number, but they are our vendor, so we'll put that in there. Description is our laser emitter. Don't forget your item number is individual to you, so that'll be 3, as well as that URL. Make sure that's hyperlinked so your lead instructor can order the right parts. So moving on to part number 4 is a photoresistor or photo cell. I found that on SparkFun, and grabbing that URL, putting the vendor down, and really repeating the same process we've been doing to go through our entire bill of materials. So again, that URL is very important for your lead instructor as well as yourself in case you need to reorder parts at some point during BlueStamp in which something's broken or the wrong part was ordered. So good to have for your reference as well as your lead instructor's reference. So moving on to our next one, we have a 10 microfarad capacitor. I found this on SparkFun. could have also been found on a site called DigiKey or in packages commonly sold on Amazon. So since I only needed one, I decided to just go with a single piece from SparkFun, which was the most optimal for me. Again, putting that part number in there since SparkFun does provide it. And that wraps up part number 5, and should be good to go there. So as we're moving on to item number 7 in our bill of materials, we're getting towards the end of the list of equipment and supplies necessary to complete this project. We need a Pir Motion Sensor. Funny enough, actually SparkFun is supplying this through Amazon, but for now we'll just order it through Amazon for simplicity of the exercise and instruction video here. So I grabbed that URL, we'll grab the price. Again, quantity, we only need 1. There's no part number even though it is SparkFun on Amazon, so we'll just have to leave that be. Again, that's a Pir Motion Sensor for part number 7. Our next item on the list, part number 8, is a set of jumper wires. And so I believe it said we need, 10 jumper wires. And so those are actually usually sold in kind of a bulk set, kind of seen here in the kit of jumper wires. And so the SparkFun kit is one of my favorite sets of jumper wires to use because there are a lot of different sizes, and it makes soldering them later quite easy. So this is one of my favorites. I'm going to grab that so we have more than we need in case some leads break or what have you. So that is the jumper wire kit from SparkFun. Grab that URL one last time here just to make sure. We should be good to go. So let's take a look here at the last item on our bill of materials list. It's the power bank. So this is a way to supply power to the Raspberry Pi so it doesn't have to be plugged into a wall or need an outlet. One thing to make sure of is that it comes with a micro USB. I've ordered this a couple times so I know it does. So I'm going to go ahead and put the URL and everything in there. But when you're looking at power supplies, it's important to note that you need to ensure the voltage that a power supply can provide is appropriate for your project. So this one's 5 volts and can supply 500 milliamps at a time. So take a look at that. If you have questions of whether or not a power supply will work for your project, feel free to reach out to your lead instructor. They can help you there and really get some information to you to understand if a power supply will work for your project or not. So except for the cell phone, which is in my pocket, my bill of materials is complete for the smart mailbox. So we're good to go there. Now you get to send it off to and share it with your lead instructor so they can go through it with you, as well as start ordering your parts for your project. So I'm going to pull up a couple more resources here that would be great for you to look at when sourcing parts. So 2 of my favorites, Adafruit, which has a lot of great small electronics DIY components for use in projects such as BlueStamp based projects, as well as DigiKey. And DigiKey is a bit more professional, but still has a lot of great small electronic components. It's a little intimidating, but definitely worth using. So that is the bill of materials instruction help video. If you need help, please feel free to reach out to your lead instructor with more questions.